Every month, it seems like the world descends just a little bit further into madness, and that goes double for the gaming world. Thankfully, gameranx is here to make it all right, and today we bring you 10 weird gaming stories from July that actually happened. Number 10, Nintendo is opening a Kirby-themed restaurant. Nintendo's done pretty well in 2016, and just like Kirby, they plan on inhaling the money from the Japanese restaurant going public, creating a chain of Kirby restaurants. A chain. It's going to kind of function as both a restaurant and a gift shop for Kirby merchandise. It's interesting Nintendo's doing stuff like this on account hardware just doesn't seem to be working for them. So remember that when you're sitting down in 20 years at the local Kirby cafe inhaling a cake that looks like the little pink fluff. Number 9, a man from Utah sued for the right to marry his computer. The lawsuit came after he was denied a marriage license for his computer, and he was like, "Wait a second, that's not fair." He says since it's legal for same-sex couples to marry, all other forms of marriage should be legal too. Dude, no. Marriage is between two consenting adults that love each other. You're talking about a computer. Look, if you're trying to put something in the USB port that isn't going to interface with any of the mechanics in the computer, well, I won't stop you. I'll judge you a little bit, but I won't stop you. But a computer can't tell you, yes, I would like to marry you. And I don't care if you make Microsoft Sam say it, or you figured out a way to make Cortana attracted to you. It's not the same thing. Siri can't consent to marriage. It's an inanimate object. It cannot make its own choices, so what you're saying is ridiculous. And also, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. If you can fit stuff into the USB port, well, I'm sorry. Number 8, in Korea, a man drove a car through the head office of game developer Nexon, who's responsible for MapleStory, if you're not aware, because as he says, they're responsible for his video game addiction. His blood alcohol level was also over the legal limit, and he didn't have a driver's license. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that game addiction isn't a thing. Games are literally designed to be addictive, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, though I do wonder sometimes when I sit here and say, this is so addictive, that's great. But the way to send the message to game developers is not driving a car through their front entrance. In fact, that makes it seem like only extremists and idiots care about this. Now, there's definitely merit to the situation that put him in this, but we're not going to have a discussion if we're going to be driving cars through windows. That's literally terrorism. Number 7, a little bit lighter, the low-cost cosplay guy did Overwatch, and it's beautiful. And by that I mean it's not beautiful at all, it's awful. It's every kind of mess that you would expect it to be, and we're thankful for this mighty genius and his commitment to literally seeming to not care, but caring too much. Thank you, low-cost cosplay man. Number 6, a chicken supplier has bought the developer of Gears of War 4's multiplayer component, and I don't even know what to say about that. The ominously named The Group is a chicken supplier from China, and this isn't their first video game company purchase. They also bought a majority stake in Digital Extremes, a Canadian-based video game developer, way back in July 2015. There's no joke to make about this as a chicken company. There are more than one video game developers with a parent company that moves dead chickens around. Number 5, the creator of Ultima is selling his blood on the internet in order to crowdfund a new RPG called Shroud of the Avatar. Now, because crowdfunding is pretty normal now, it's difficult to stand out in that crowd. So Richard Garriott was like, okay, I'll just sell my blood. That seems weird, right? There are a few people that have bought these ridiculously priced quote-unquote art pieces at $6,000 and $8,000, but I find it very hard to believe. Sure, we're talking about it, so it's obviously newsworthy, but is it money-worthy? I don't think so. Games cost a lot of money to develop, and $6,000, $8,000 isn't a lot of money in that respect. They'd originally listed these things on eBay, but eBay took it down. eBay was like, no, because they have a policy against selling blood and human pieces that I can't imagine why they would have. And it's like, dude, do you think you're Ozzy Osbourne? You're not. You made an RPG in the 80s. Number 4, trains at the Shibuya station in Tokyo, Japan are playing the Dragon Quest Overture as they depart the station. You see, various stations have themes that they play, and until September 12th, Shibuya is going to be playing the Dragon Quest theme. It's the 30th anniversary of Dragon Quest, and there's an exhibit held in Shibuya that ends on the 11th of September. It's a good example of how games are kind of like Japan's TV. Number 3, a pizza place called Freddys Pizza is getting a massive amount of phone calls from kids who are obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's. Once school gets out in various time zones across the country, calls pick up to this pizza place, and they call in and they ask if it's the Five Nights at Freddy's pizza place, which it's not. It's Clearly not. That's a game. It's fiction. You know, a little prank call, it's fine. But they get the same number calling 20 to 30 times. At the peak of this phenomenon during the day, they get over 200 phone calls an hour. Do you know how impossible it is for them to sell pizza that way? That's somebody's livelihood, their life. It's not like Pizza Hut. It's some random little business in New Jersey, owned by a family. It's not cool. Number 2, it took Oculus 4 months, but they've finally cleared the Rift pre-orders. But you can now order it and get it in 2 to 4 business days. Now, I'm not saying whether you should or shouldn't. In fact, Jake put up a video a couple days ago about it, and I would highly recommend watching that if you're even thinking about buying one, because it's definitely for some people and not for some other people. But at least now the supply isn't what's prohibitive. It's pretty amazing, actually, that VR has been that successful, though. 4 months to clear the pre-orders. That's a lot. And number 1, obviously the most weird and probably the best story for quite a while, is the Japanese retailer Thanco is now carrying a product being billed as a clip-on armpit sweat reducer, I guess. It's a USB fan that you clip into your sleeve and it blows out the hot air that your armpit generates. If it gets adopted at all, it'll probably get adopted in offices first, but I can tell you this right now, the agenda is esports. Esports is a huge industry that is growing crazily, where people play games for many hours at a time. And with this product, they're only a couple of AA batteries or a micro USB away from having dry pits. Are you next in line for an armpit cooler, or have something to say about any of the other various stories in this video? Meet us in the comments and let's have a discussion. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button for us. It helps us a great deal. And if you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every single day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.